It's hard to believe that this quickly Binance Smart Chain has just came out of virtually nowhere all the way to the number 3 position, and people are saying it can flip an ETH. Like, were you talking about that last week? Was anybody talking about it 2 weeks ago? Anybody talking about it 3 months ago? Not really. It's just one of these things that's so hard to believe, and you're just like looking around trying to figure out, like, how did this happen so quick?
The popularity of the Binance Smart Chain has absolutely exploded over this past month, and it very well could flip Ethereum in terms of its market cap. It's already number 3. It's up about 10x from where it was in December. And I think one of the things that you're seeing in the DeFi space, the yield farming, all of these new innovative projects are coming onto this blockchain because it solves a lot of the issues that we're seeing on Ethereum with the high gas fees, the stuck transactions. Some of the issues and problems that we're experiencing on that bloated, congested network are not issues on the Binance Smart Chain. It's fast, it's cheap, it's efficient, it's very similar to Ethereum. It works inside MetaMask. So I feel like this one has tremendous potential, and I think that getting involved in some of these newer projects early can be massively profitable. I got into one, put about $3,000 in a video that I did on the BSCX token. I got into that pool, and I've about 15x'd my investment in the course of about 2 weeks. And there's a lot of other projects that I've gotten into that have gone up massively in value. So in this video, I'm gonna give you my breakdown of the research that I've been doing over the past week. I've gotten into about 20 different projects, and I'll give you kind of my rundown, what I look for, some of the things to look out for on this really innovative, new, fast, efficient network that has a lot of potential with all of these new up and coming projects. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Clover Crypto. If you're new here, we're focused on decentralized applications, trading, and other passive income opportunities. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified when I release new videos. So what gives these tokens that are essentially made up out of thin air, what gives them value? Like, why would you want to invest in them? And there's quite a few reasons for them. I'm going to give you some of the main ones. For one, a lot of the stuff that goes on the Binance chain as well as the Binance Smart Chain is compatible with Ethereum, and it leverages a lot of the advantages and some of the things that we've seen on Ethereum without some of the same costs to be able to do that, and with faster transaction times. So we're seeing a lot of movement of projects that were on Ethereum that were just getting choked up and it's just impossible to transact. And now this very open environment is seeing a lot of people move over. And I think that will continue to increase over time. And that is bringing a tremendous amount of capital onto this blockchain, for one. And so as you get these new innovative projects that are starting new ecosystems, they also don't have the ability to do, say, like an ICO like we used to see 4 or 5 years ago. Those are coming under a lot of scrutiny, and you can do an ICO in kind of the same way through mining in a decentralized ecosystem by providing liquidity. And so it's a different model for getting your governance token or some of the main tokens of your ecosystem out to users and to reward users for doing that. We're seeing billions of dollars invested in being held in different contracts, and that number is continuing to just really massively ramp up. And we can see that in some of the graphs here. But keep in mind that fast, cheap, and easy is inviting a lot of scammers into this space. And so it typically comes in the form of rug pulls, where they pull all of the liquidity and the token price is essentially worthless. And we've seen that with a number of projects. You can see it on BCS Scam, which is a great resource. You see these up and coming projects, and like there's been some that I was kind of looking at and they rug pulled like within a day. So that was like the Wall Street Bets was one. So you kind of see this with like gimmicky, like meme style projects. I mean, scammers are really crafty, and they will come up with all kinds of ingenious ways to get you to invest in their projects, and it's very profitable for them. So I think that if you stick to some of the larger projects, some of the more well-known ones, particularly on Pancakeswap, you get into different liquidity pairs. That is a very safe approach, and the APYs aren't as good. You're maybe looking at between 100 and 300 on the APY, which is it's still outstanding, but there's some of these new up and coming projects where they have APYs in the thousands, and it might be worth it to try it in a couple of these. And so I'm experimenting with a lot of them, and I've given you guys my list here. And I've done it in the order of my confidence in the project, as well as, kind of like my investment. And so I typically, and with some of the riskier projects, I'm getting into their token paired with BnB. They do pair it with like BUSD or a stable token. I typically want to pair that with BnB because I'm bullish on BnB right now. So even if the token price goes down, or a lot of people are dumping it or whatnot, if BnB takes off, then that may at least make my profits a little bit better in that. And so that's one of the things that I've seen, because with some of these projects, like the token may dump quite a bit. And I have these all plugged into a spreadsheet where I just click a button and I refresh the data, and it queries all of the prices of all of these projects that I'm in based on CoinGecko. And so it took me a long time to be able to do that, but now I can just click a button and I can get real-time information on prices. And sometimes I've clicked that after after going to sleep and waking up, and I've just watched it just increase like thousands and thousands of dollars as it's refreshing the prices. So that's one good way to keep track. There's yieldwatcher.net, which is another great resource. It only works with some of the larger yield farming projects out there, but that can be a good way to kind of track some of the things that you're in. And it might be worthwhile just kind of, staying in the know. I mean, there's, a lot of passive income YouTubers that are out there that are, following some of this stuff. And there's Telegram chats where a lot of people are sharing information. And that's a great way to stay in the know on some of these. But if you don't have the time necessarily to do a lot of that research on your own, my advice is to get into some of the larger ones with, hundreds of millions of dollars in liquidity. So the AutoFarm, the ACS, all of the different larger pairs that we're starting to see on Pancakeswap. BSCX has been a great one for me, and they have some really good offerings. They don't have a whole lot of pairings, but the ones they do have are really good, and I really like their marketing. So I would kind of consider those like the major yield farming projects on the Binance Smart Chain. And those are the ones that I have, thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars invested in those projects. I would also put JetFuel.finance. Those are kind of like my top 5. And then, once you start kind of going down the list, you get, Egg with Goose DeFi, CafeSwap with their Brew token. That's a little bit of a smaller project, but there is just so many to choose from. And with some of these other ones, like I'm putting in a little bit of money and just kind of pulling out the money that I'm making in their token. Burger Swap is one that's been around quite a while. Bunny is an interesting one. The price is really not done well today, but they have this really cool Zap feature where you can essentially just deposit BnB, and it just kind of auto converts everything, and it does some interesting things in the background. I don't know enough about what they're doing, but I saw enough innovation to give me some interest in that project. bdollar looks like a really good one. That one has gone up quite a bit. And again, with some of these, like with bdollar or some of these other projects where you have a token, I don't necessarily look at the token price. I may, if it's something that I'm trying to catch a dip or something like that where I'm trying to get a good price in this project. But some of them, like with AutoFarm, the price of the token is really expensive. So you can only buy a small amount. And so I look at it, a little bit more in dollar terms. So I'll invest $500 or I'll invest $1,000, and whatever I get in their token, I'll pair that with the equal amount in BnB, and that's pretty much kind of my strategy and what I've done. And it's been working out pretty well for me. And then with the token, I'm initially trying to get my initial investment back, and if I need to, I might swap between some of the different farms. I've been selling a lot of cake that I've been earning in the BSCX pool to get into some of these newer projects that are coming up. So for me, there's not as much risk. I'm using my profits from some of the bigger low risk projects to fund some of these higher risk ones where I might be able to do a quick flip or to kind of, move some money around. So, I'm in Kebab, SmokeHouse, got into BigNite, ExtendFinance, and ZD. With those three, I just bought their token along with BR34P. For the most part, every single one of those tokens is up in value. They do tend to fluctuate quite a bit with some of the volatility, but they're doing really well. And I might only buy like 50 or $100 with some of these, and they've been doing pretty well. Ditto is the rebase style token that looks interesting. Like the rebase style tokens can do well at times when you get enough people that are kind of speculating on price and there's a really big increase in volume. So that's a good one. SmokeHouse is one I got into. ApeSwap, DankSwap. So there's newer ones that I'm investigating, and if I see enough behind some of these projects, they look very enticing. Like Pro Finance was one where you have a deflationary token, and some of these other projects, they do also have some deflationary mechanisms to those tokens. So there's a lot out there. So I've listed a lot of the projects that I'm interested in that I've not gotten into just yet. I've made a pretty comprehensive list that I shared in my announcements Telegram chat. So that's another great way to stay up to date. I give updates from time to time on different things that I'm looking at, as well as talking a little bit more exclusively with people in my private chat. If you're interested in joining that, I've left the info in the description below. So a lot of things that I'm looking at and researching and talking with people. So a lot of opportunity right now, and I'm going to be getting into a lot of projects, and I'll be looking to give updates, maybe doing live streams perhaps, where I can field more real-time information and questions in that sense. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, different projects that you've gotten into. And there's things that you also want to be a little bit aware of. I've also put projects that I'm not investing into. Unfortunately, I was involved with Moonberg and Tobias Graph, where we just stole millions of dollars from users in about 5 or 6 different projects, 5 or 6 projects straight, until I got into JewelSwap. And JewelSwap right now is one of the biggest projects on the Binance Smart Chain. I mean, they've got a tremendous amount of liquidity involved with that project from a guy that has just blatantly and unapologetically scammed millions of dollars from people in numerous projects over and over again, verifiable for people that do the research. But a lot of people are new into the space. They don't necessarily do a lot of that due diligence on these projects. And that's one of the things to kind of look at. There's a lot of risk when you're getting into these. There's a lot of projects that could rug pull for any number of reasons. There's contracts can get drained. We saw that with ACryptoSwap, which was a pretty popular one that I know a lot of people that I'm communicating with got into and lost money in that. So there's a number of different reasons that these projects could fail, or the token price could go down substantially in value where you're holding a worthless token. So you want to keep that in mind if you're getting into any of these projects. So those are some of my big picture insights with all of these new projects that are coming onto Binance. And I think that we will start to see a lot of scams for sure in the future. So I think that you really need to be very cautious with a lot of the new up and coming projects, and really need to vet them pretty hard and see what it is that makes them different. A lot of these are kind of copy paste devs that are just throwing code together, and they may have a lot of exploits or vulnerabilities with those. You see a lot of these look very similar to Pancakeswap, and so the code, even though it may be fairly solid, if they are copying solid code that's already established with Pancakeswap, I don't know how much innovation is there with some of these projects and how well that token will do in the future. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind, is that there's a lot more risk with projects that are, say, under like $10 million in liquidity. And some of the top ones, those are the ones that I'm going to be investing fairly heavily in, but also, getting to a point where you can pull your initial capital out and then kind of diversify, get into some other projects, and ultimately look for other ways to diversify. I talk about trading bot projects on this channel. I have ones that are doing really, really well. So that's another one where you can put funds into an exchange account and then use the money from those to fuel other projects, to hold some different DeFi tokens, to get into different passive income projects. There's platforms, more centralized platforms that are out there. I've really kind of started to stray away from some of those, but there are some opportunities that are out there. So I've listed some of the ones that I feel are some of the best ones in the description below. So a lot of interesting projects, a lot of gains. I mean, I think that a lot of people that are in this space right now are doing really, really well. Everything seems to be exploding. And if you do a little bit of due diligence on these projects, you can do really, really well. So curious to hear your guys' thoughts. If you guys found this video helpful, be sure to leave me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.